Let's get into the advisory now and get across why retirement strategies are evolving as bonds lose their traditional defensive role. Justine Marquet from Allianz Retire Plus joining us now. Justine, good to see you. It is an interesting time, notwithstanding everything that's going on, but bonds are normally seen as safe. Why not at the moment, do you say?
Well, what's changed over recent years is that we've seen an increasing correlation between the performance of the bond sector and the equity sector. So particularly over the last 5 years, what we're seeing a reduction in that risk offset that we used to get by having those two asset classes in our portfolio. So they're becoming more correlated over time, and that's only getting worse with the higher for longer interest rate environment, credit markets at risk, private credit, private markets in general. So defaults are becoming increasingly a risk factor. And what that means is it's becoming harder to diversify your portfolio. In fact, by just relying on the bonds and equities sort of traditional diversification feature, you're probably having a more concentrated portfolio in terms of risk.
Yeah, absolutely. So why does this matter so much, not just for retirees, but for pre-retirees?
It matters because retirees are needing to use their savings for regular income, not just for investment growth. And for pre-retirees, they don't necessarily know when they're going to retire, or they might have an objective, but if they retire at a period when markets fail or are significantly depressed, that can have a huge impact on the longevity of their retirement portfolio, on the ability of them to retire at a particular time, but also on the amount of income they can live on in retirement. So we have this situation where people retiring into a really positive environment for a couple of years see significantly more. They can see 10 times more length in their retirement portfolio than someone who retires into negative markets. And it feels very different, doesn't it? Volatility at age 35 is like an opportunity, but volatility in retirement is a massive threat because of that sequencing risk.
So therefore, what should retirees be looking at, particularly if, as we've been saying for some years now, 60-40 might be dead?
Well, they need to first of all understand that we're in a new economic regime, so things that worked in the past don't work anymore. I think they need to ensure that their defensive assets are defensive when it matters most. And so that's thinking outside of the traditional 60-40 portfolio and thinking about other kinds of assets that can provide much more resilience and income confidence throughout retirement. That's not correlated with their other investments. And one really easy way to do that is by utilising contractual lifetime income streams, where you have a contract with a life company that's got capital backing, institutional grade sort of financial statements and requirements, and they're contractually obligated to pay you a certain amount of income every year.
So like annuities?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is it's a contract. It's not just relying on market performance. So what you're removing is a significant part of that volatility around income performance.
So what would be the key takeaway for Australians that are planning their retirement right now?
I think Australians need to prioritise for their retirement some downside protection and capital resilience in the lead up to retirement, ensure that there is capital resilience throughout their retirement, prioritise some security of income in retirement, and really think about a reduced reliance on market timing. We can do that in accumulation, but as we're moving into and through retirement, that just isn't going to work for us.
For those in accumulation though, I mean, you just kind of write it out, right? I mean, it's still probably very beneficial to be in a growth phase.
It is. Part of that is determined by your sleep at night factor, I guess, and your resistance to sort of seeing that balance drop and then making a change at the wrong time. But there's also, it depends how close you are to retirement, right? As the closer we get, the more importance there is on building some of that downside protection, you know, and there's very inexpensive ways to get hold of that while you're still accumulating. For example, a deferred type annuity, like, you know, like Allianz's Agile product, it gives you the upside participation in the market, but you can have full downside protection. And what you're getting is actually quite good returns given the market risk. So we're still getting a decent return, but our Sharpe ratio has gone right up because we've really reduced the risk around that part of our portfolio. And it does give you more confidence then to have the rest of the assets. Because this isn't a whole of portfolio solution, it's about diversifying your portfolio so that you've got some put aside for that resilience and the rest still participating fully in market.